What dirty little secret does your profession hide that the consumer should know? Sign language interpreting. A huge amount of them are underskilled and uncertified. When they don't understand a deaf person, they will simply make up a translation and the deaf person never hears it. It leads to a lot of hearing people thinking a lot of deaf people are morons. And a lot of deaf people distrusting and being frustrated by hearing people patronizing them. The larger the menu at a restaurant, the greater the chance your food was frozen and just reheated. Late edit, more so for large chain restaurants. If you're getting blown insulation installed in your attic, ask for the spec sheet on the material they plan to install. It will tell you the number of bags your job will require. Ask the installer to confirm how many bags will be installed. Count the empty bags. Unethical folks can turn their blowers way up and close the material gate. We're installing extra fluffy insulation in your attic, mostly air. It'll settle a lot over time. You got ripped off. Get a quote by the bag, not by the inch. Hotel manager. Most of the time the comforter is only changed when visibly dirty. Always take off the comforter and use the blanket in the closet. Or ask them to bring you one. Screen printing shops are dirty as frick and you should always wash new shirts before wearing them. I work at a living facility for special needs people. There's honestly a very slim chance that your family member would be abused by the staff. However, depending on where they are placed, based on a number of factors, it's highly likely they could be abused by their roommates and the facility won't do a damn thing about it unless forced. Please ask for your therapist's credentials. Not in a challenging, aggressive way unless they purport to be a life coach. Then be skeptical, but just to ensure that they are who they claim to be. There are so many counselors operating illegally, or in legal gray areas, in the US, it's mind-boggling. Some states don't protect titles like counselor or therapist, giving free rein to anyone who wants to set up shop. But qualified therapists want you to get the best treatment. Many people who have terrible, negative experiences in therapy are seeing someone underqualified or not qualified at all. Just ask. Flight simulation engineer here. Until Sully landed his Airbus in the Hudson, the average chances of surviving a commercial jet water landing were less than 5%. Highest recorded survival was the Ethiopian 767 with 29% survival. The seat back safety card and life vests were simply placebos for nervous passengers. Follow on. Sullenberger's technique is now part of pilot simulator training, so chances have increased. However, if it happens in the ocean, you might survive the crash but will almost certainly die of hypothermia, drowning or exposure. I work in wholesale. If you pick UPS and a package shows up via USPS, we change the shipping method because it's cheaper and faster. According to our quote, we also save sometimes more than $10 doing that. You can call the company and request they refund you the difference because USPS is always cheaper. Edit. For clarification, I'm talking about instances where you pay for a shipping method but the retailer decides to ship it from the store via USPS. I know in some cities there are instances where the packages are handed off between UPS and USPS and others. This is a decision of the carrier, not the retailer. And the retailer makes no extra money from that. A comment I posted about a year ago. Parents. Every year there are 2 or 3 teachers in the school, elementary, who are so awful. We cry over which students we have to sacrifice to them and hope they are strong enough to survive a year with MR. Or MRS. So and so. Healthcare has become more oriented to customer service and satisfaction than patient care. Providers are at constant odds with administrators to balance profitable care with quality care, which are polar opposites. You don't have to be an orthodontist to do orthodontic. Just a dentist. Don't subject your kids or yourself to braces treatment unless the provider actually is certified in orthodontic. It can make the difference between 7 years of treatment that reverses itself immediately and 11 months that lasts a lifetime. Furniture delivery man here. When items are damaged, I'd say that 99% of them happen before they get to the dispatch warehouse. In addition, every time you force employees to take safety footwear off or cover them, most companies won't cover any injuries caused as a result and the worker is out of pocket. Your city doesn't spend nearly enough making sure the infrastructure is decent. I'm a freelance copy editor proofreader. A large portion of the books in my portfolio were previously published and edited. Meaning, the author paid someone to edit it already. Why then? Did they still need to hire me? Because they were still absolutely filled with errors. To the point where reviewers would comment on the poor editing. In the freelance editing world, there seems to be no shortage of people who will take authors' money but not do a good job. Typically these are random people on Fiverr and similar sites. To avoid this, you should hire editors that come recommended by people you trust. If that is not practical, then you should at least get an editor to do a sample edit of 1000 2000 words. Perhaps throw in some errors on purpose. If they catch those errors, or even errors you didn't put in deliberately, then they are good. HVAC work. The amount of black mold in nursing homes is outrageous. If you're considering putting an elderly family member in one, glance inside the AC unit or look at an air vent. You can see it too. Not my main profession, but did some technical writing as a freelancer. Many companies actually pay people to post on social media and review sites and write positive fake feedback. So, when you're on Amazon and find someone writing a review about a skillet for example and they say this is a great product, I really enjoyed it and the instructions were clear, you know it's a real person profile but with fake review. The tops of your beer cans are gross. You should always wipe a beer can clean before drinking out of it. And preferably just pour it in a glass. They get poop all over them during storage transportation. They get walked on if someone needs to climb over the pallet they are loaded on. And don't get me started on some of the poop I've seen inside beer coolers. Disgusting. Cans also don't transport well on pallets. Cans pop puncture and then that beer attracts flies which in turn create maggots. Former beer delivery guy edit. I appreciate all of the reads and upvotes. 1K is a first for me on Reddit. I recently just left the beer industry so I don't really have ties to anything or anyone I'm referencing in this post. But I will not do or say anything to expose any one of my former accounts. Regarding video game with post-release support, usually online. Especially ones which are not that crazy popular if you are a very vocal member of the community who keeps talking and talking about a given game. You might be an inside company meme. I've seen it few times. Of course smart, nice people who give constant actual feedback are respected and often mentioned by the devs when they talk to each other. But people who keep complaining and hating are targets of jokes in such company. High school teacher here. After a month of summer, I've already forgotten 90% of students' names. Planetarium operator. Nobody in the space sciences cares about constellations. They're used to help define the location of astronomical objects. But I bet most astronomers don't know the names of more than 5 or 6 constellations. I only talk about them because the general public finds them interesting. For some reason I would skip them if my boss would let me. Everyone is an alcoholic. On cocaine. Or both. Film industry. The 3-second rule is used with most prescription medications. Not dirty but something everyone should know. I work in the music industry and guarantee that if there's an option to submit your music at a label, management company, whatever, someone will listen to it. Guaranteed. Your nurses and doctors talk about you in the break room. Plumber here. There are so many things all of you are capable of doing fixing around the home. I can't tell you how many toilets I've fixed. Shower drains unclogged. Leaks stopped, etc. That took no tools or a simple tool. In literally 2 minutes. A 15 minutes educational video on how most of the plumbing in your house works would lose me maybe even a few thousand a month. Ramp agent here. I deal with airplanes from them coming to a stand until they depart. Your bags get manhandled. We can have 150 bags off then on in a 15-minute window. They have to get from the cargo door all the way to the middle. Bags with 4 wheels are the greatest thing since sliced bread, since they just roll. Sports bags with no wheels are literally hurled down. We mean no ill intention, but there is no choice when you fly with the budget airline that rhymes with dry in hair. I work at a pizza place. The more toppings you order, the fewer of each you actually get while still being charged the same price per topping. I Google probably 30% of what I fix. The only reason you can't do it is somehow the ability to Google well is difficult. HVAC guy here. Basically, the life of your air conditioner is largely based on how well the refrigerant lines were evacuated upon installation. A well-installed system can last 20-30 years with only a couple major repairs. However, since 99% of installing contractors don't care or don't know how to install properly, the average system only lasts 10-12 years nowadays. I work at a commercial bank. Check the math on fees and such. It's a lot more manual of a process with the possibility of human error than I expected. Animal shelters lower the age of animals. Usually of those over 6, because that's when it's hardest to adopt them out. Also, no kill doesn't mean no kill. It means less than 1 in 10 animals are put down. Used to work at Domino's Pizza. When you order extra cheese on a pizza, we didn't actually put extra cheese. We just put 1 stroke to the regular amount of cheese on the sauce, and the other 1 stroke to on top of the toppings. If you really want extra cheese, order double cheese. My boyfriend works at Del Taco. You know their super good crinkle cut fries? When the store runs out, the manager sends someone over to the Walmart across the street and they bring back a few bags of great value frozen crinkle cut fries. They never get complaints. There is a reason why your bar has loud music on. If you can't keep a conversation going, you are going to be drinking faster and more likely to order another round. Edit. Not every place is going to have the volume at 11. But if you ever wonder why your ears are bleeding and they won't turn it down, now you know. I work at a local family-owned hot dog shop and we sell lemonade that's fresh squeezed every morning. We actually just mix a giant vat of water, concentrate and sugar. Physical therapist. If you go to PT and they put you on a bike for 30-45 minutes to warm up and then they spend 5-10 minutes stretching you and that's a wrap, you should find a different clinic. Not really a dirty little secret, but I know some people would throw a fit. A lot of use-by dates for food are arbitrary. By the time the people who sell you the food directly get it in, we have no idea when it was plucked, killed, prepped, etc., and have to trust our vendors kept it to certain standards. Often the salad my store sells goes bad before the expiration date, but the sandwiches are good for a week plus longer. Water bottles and honey all have expiration dates on them despite the product not actually expiring. And many fruits we get in are pulled when they look bad. Not X days after we get it in, others are pulled X days after prep, despite still being perfectly fine to eat. And some food that's good until X day gets prepped X one day and stays on the shelf but for a week with a different expiration date. I'm a mortgage underwriter. 99% of the decision making was made by data analysts and actuaries long before you ever applied for the loan. Most of what I do is make sure the data that got entered into the underwriting automated system was keyed in accurately by making sure the supporting docs say what the loan officer processor says they say. I very rarely have to make an actual eligibility decision beyond this appraisal isn't crap. I work in a casino resort. Pretty much everything here is comped. The only people who really pay for anything are non-gamblers and first-timers. I design building structures. It's amazing the number of existing building and industrial plants I've gone into where they are newly renovated and about ready to fall down. One chemical plant in particular, they had run high voltage, 4160 V, through the main structure supporting ethanol lines. They cut out the structure to run the electrical conduit. Teacher's aid here. A surprising amount of teachers I know actually hate kids. It doesn't seem like it when they actually teach though. So I find it so weird. I work in mortgages. The fees are not hidden. You just signed a bunch of paperwork without reading it. The fee schedule is not even that much. 3-4 pages. 14-point font. Properly spaced. Saying if you do X, we charge you Y fee. But people get surprised when they incur fees. So many just can't be bothered to read the mortgage paperwork before signing it. It's amazing. Also, I have the discretion to waive, or just not charge, a lot of those fees, if the client just asks me. But some people would rather bitch and scream at me. If a client behaves like a decent human being, I may cut them a break. If the client would rather yell at the first person that speaks to them, the fee gets charged. All the bigwigs of Canadian telecom companies meet every so often to make sure they each keep a stranglehold on their own little piece of the market. Everyone will offer almost exactly the same service for the exact same price. So there is no competition. They all stay rich and we all get fricked. Highest MRP for telecom services in the world here. At least it was a few years ago. May have dropped to 2 or 3 now. Hey you. Thanks for watching Reddit Stories. If you enjoyed the video, consider hitting like and subscribing. Your support means a lot. We also have a Discord community where we will be running giveaways and fun surprises throughout the year. Come along and meet some new friends. You look great today.